The president has arrived. The Three Amigos summit is underway, and large parts of downtown Ottawa are in security lockdown. Air Force One touched down at the Ottawa airport at 10:18 this morning. This is Obama's first visit to the capital since February 2009, just a few weeks after taking office. A familiar wave as the president stepped from Air Force One and jogged down the stairs to greet dignitaries that included the U.S. ambassador and his wife and Ottawa Mayor Jim Watson. 10 minutes after he landed, the presidential motorcade left the airport for the National Gallery. There are more than 40 vehicles in the motorcade, including identical armored limousines nicknamed the Beast. One carried the president, the other a decoy. Road closures along the route included the Airport Parkway, Colonel By, and Sussex Drive. With more on the Obama visit and the North American Leaders Summit, here's CTV's Richard Madden.
Canada's ceremonial guard and Governor General David Johnston greets U.S. President Barack Obama in Ottawa. Even before Air Force One landed, Obama called the president of Turkey with deep condolences after yesterday's deadly terror attack at the Istanbul airport. At least 41 were killed, more than 230 injured after gunmen stormed the entrance and detonated suicide vests. Obama is expected to make his first public comments on the attack later today. And there's high security and heavy police presence. The summit, meant to focus on strengthening the North American relationship, seems to be taking a different tone. International terrorism continued followed from the British referendum to leave the EU, and now protectionist language from U.S. presidential candidates. North American leaders are defending free trade agreements and calling to work together.
At a time where, unfortunately, people are prone to turning inwards, which will unfortunately be at the cost of economic growth and their own success in many situations.
Now, later this afternoon, President Obama will address Parliament. He's expected to highlight his country's strong relationship with Canada, but also play to his home crowd, no doubt taking some political shots at Republicans with the U.S. election heating up. Richard Madden, CTV News, Ottawa.
CTV's Catherine Latham has been following the arrival of President Obama. She joins us now from Majors Hill Park. Kathy, what's going on there?
Well, Michael, a lot of excitement around here today. You know, it was sort of an eerie feeling seeing all the roads closed downtown, police and all of these fences just lining all of the downtown streets. And I don't think I've ever seen such a large police presence down here, at least in many years, all waiting for that motorcade. And here at Majors Hill Park, you know, probably fewer than 100 people were lined up here just waiting, hoping to get a glimpse. They said this is a historical moment. But unfortunately, President Obama's car went straight to the gallery. You can see some of the other vehicles behind us here, but it wasn't his vehicle. Kelly Oliver, come on over here, Kelly, because you came here. You wanted to see who, obviously?
Well, President Obama, of course.
And were you a little disappointed?
We didn't really get to see anything. There was two of his cars were there, and we saw maybe the back of his head in one of them, and that's about it. So yeah, I mean, the viewpoint for this public gallery is not the best.
Why did you want to come down here, and why did you want, like so many people, just to catch a glimpse?
Well, for me personally, Obama's an inspiration. Like the fact that he's the first black president, and who knows if there's going to be another one. You know, for me that's a big deal, and I really wanted to see him.
Well, there is still hope because they are supposed to have a family photo just before their lunch break. So around 1:30, there's some hope from people that maybe they will come out here and do a walkabout, Michael. So we will just have to wait and see for that.
Hey, Catherine, was that area set aside for protesters as well?
It was, but there were certainly no protesters here when the motorcade came by. It was all just people wanting to get a glimpse of the Three Amigos, and some of them were disappointed, but others just, hearing the choppers above and the cars pull up and the rumbling of those motorcycles was enough to leave them a little bit satisfied, at least, Michael.
All right, CTV's Catherine Latham reporting live. Thank you, Catherine. Well, CTV's Annie Bergeron Oliver is along the motorcade route at Murray and Sussex, right by the U.S. Embassy, where a lot of people were hoping to grab a glimpse of the president. And Annie, I gather you did.
I did, Michael. I think I'm kind of the unofficial groupie today for Obama. Been following him around all morning. And surprisingly, I'm not the only person as well. This morning, there were probably 200-300 people who lined up at Rideau in Sussex. They were there early, around 8:30, hoping to try to see the motorcade come through. What's interesting is they have several routes planned out that way. For security reasons, no one knows exactly where the president's going. So they had everyone lined up. All of the people hoping to catch a glimpse of him were right at Rideau in Sussex. And probably 5 minutes before the motorcade came through, maybe even less, all of these motorcycles came through, and you knew that that's the route they were going to take. So instead of coming down Sussex, they went down Mackenzie. So all of a sudden, all of these people who had been lining up since 8 a.m. rushed over to the other corner so that they could be next to the Chateau Laurier to see Obama and his limousine, which they called the Beast, come through. It was kind of eerie just before he came through, very quiet. Nobody was talking, everyone just anticipating his arrival in a motorcade that has more than 40 different vehicles. And as soon as he did come in, you could hear the helicopters overhead. They were just rushing, and you could hear everybody just waiting. And the minute Obama came through, you did see a small wave. Some people say that he wasn't actually waving, it was a body double. I think it was a wave, I'm gonna say that. And everyone around me just said, oh my God, that's Obama, I saw him. And then after he left, everyone was talking about him and talking about how exciting this moment is. And if you missed him this morning, you will probably be able to get another glimpse of the motorcade around 4 o'clock when he leaves the gallery and heads up to Parliament Hill. Michael?
Annie, for people who might want to try to catch a glimpse this afternoon, when the motorcade drives by, does it slow down at all where there's large crowds, or does it just maintain its speed?
No, it maintains its speed the entire time. The way that you can tell when the motorcade is coming is those motorcycles. There's going to be between 20, 30 motorcycles, Ottawa Police, Toronto Police. They're the ones that head this motorcade, so you'll be able to see them first. You're also going to be able to hear the helicopters overhead. They follow the motorcade the entire time. So if you're wondering what direction he is going, those are two of the markers.
CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver, I'm sure he was waving at you. Thank you, Annie.
You're welcome.
CTV Ottawa Chief Anchor Graham Richardson joins us now. Graham, let's talk about the politics of this. President Obama is in his last 6 months, effectively a lame duck president. What can he really do at this point that would make a difference for Canada?
Well, I mean, never underestimate personal relationships between leaders. This lame duck thing mainly is about domestic politics in the United States. Can't get anything done because he is at the end of his second term, and there's a new president coming in, whoever that will be. But you got to remember just the communique this morning talking about, what were they talking about? Both the White House and the PMO talking about clean, green energy. If Donald Trump wins the presidency, I don't think Canada and the United States will be issuing those kind of communiques. I think it'll be a very, very different tone, a very, very different presidency, much like the switch. And who knows what's going to happen. We'll see what the American voters say. But much like the switch from Clinton to Bush and 9/11 intervening, if there is a major shift, many people will look back on this particular relationship, Trudeau and Obama, even though it's short, as interests aligning. The Democrats and the Liberals tend to align. The Republicans and the Conservatives tend to align. So yes on lame duck domestically, but again, never underestimate the ability to pick up the phone and have the president answer the phone in that personal relationship, because not all presidents and prime ministers have had that.
What kind of announcements are expected here in the next few hours?
Well, I think you're going to hear more about global warming, about bringing down our carbon emissions, about the green economy. I also think you're going to hear from Obama in the House, perhaps reference to Brexit, reference to divisive politics. I mean, Donald Trump essentially said he's going to tear up the NAFTA because it's a bad deal for the United States yesterday. One of the most protectionist speeches that anybody can ever remember from a presidential candidate, and that matters. Like, if you're in the auto sector and Donald Trump wins, I mean, that really matters to real jobs here in Ontario. So I think I'm going to be watching for what Obama says in the House, the messages he sends, and also looking back on his time as president and the relationship between Canada and the United States.
CTV Ottawa Chief Anchor Graham Richardson, appreciate your insight.
Okay, Mike.
Thank you, Graham.
Thanks.
Well, social media is abuzz with presidential chatter. CTV's Leah LaRocque has some of what people are saying today. Leah.
Well, Michael, for most of the morning, the talk was about just how difficult it was to get around and how eerily quiet the downtown was because of all those road closures in place. Key downtown streets, of course, blocked off. But the frustration quickly turned to excitement when Obama touched down in the capital. This is a tweet from the Ottawa airport announcing that the Eagle has landed and welcoming him to Canada. Many people are trying to get a glimpse, even a small one, of the president. It's not quite a selfie, but I think it will do for them. Others have been waiting a long time for this view. This person says he's seen Air Force One in person, scratch number 6 off the bucket list. I wonder what number 1 was. People are trying to get as close to possible to see. Certainly a lot of excitement about this. The mayor even tweeted out this picture while he was waiting for Obama's arrival. And this is just a small sample of what some people are saying online, but people are really trying to get a glimpse of the president. And as Annie and Kathy both mentioned, that seems to be quite difficult. Now, those road closures that we mentioned are still in effect. Major downtown arteries like Wellington, Sussex, the Alexandra Bridge, Mackenzie Avenue, still off limits, and roads around the airport will be closed to traffic again from 4:30 this afternoon to 8 o'clock tonight. And we will be keeping you updated on all the changes and information on the road closures throughout the day. Michael.
CTV's Leah LaRocque. Thank you, Leah.
You're welcome.